I don't know if you heard the question was if I had any recommendations or suggestions or any comments, I guess, on this, your brother who has an autoimmune disease. The autoimmune diseases are more prevalent than they ever have been. And it's important to see that it's a matter of the system attacking itself on a certain level. And, we believe, as Muslims, we believe that Allah has sent the cure for every illness. But that doesn't mean that everyone gets cured by the medicine. Sometimes when we all do die, and that's also part of the process that one goes through by His mercy, in fact, that people get well and have tremendous openings and coming close to Allah in the process of dying. I've seen people die very beautifully. So sometimes death is part of the process that one has to accept, and it's something we all have to accept as part of our journey. So we do believe on one hand in that, that Allah has sent potentially the cure for everything, but we also believe that there's a mercy in the death, and that there's a mercy in the illness, and that even the most difficult illnesses, by Allah, sometimes we can see the benefits and the mercy. Sometimes we're not even able to see that, but we trust and believe in that. So the autoimmune diseases, the homeopaths have theories about it that are pretty important in terms of how disease is made, driven deeper and deeper into the individual system and into the society. Most recently, there's been a flu around the country. I don't know, people, you've probably seen it here, and it's a very kind of tenacious flu that people have for not just a week, but it seems like 2 weeks. And there was an article, apparently, I didn't read it, in the New York Times about how people were believing that this had become a more virulent kind of flu because of the flu vaccines and their use. Now, this is a theory and a principle that the homeopaths have had for many years, and that is that we can transmute the disease entities themselves by the way in which we treat them, either with hikmah or with ignorance. And if we treat them with hikmah, of course, they don't become more virulent and become more dangerous and more strong. So the autoimmune diseases are, the homeopaths have theories about that and how the system gets to a place where it actually attacks itself and begins to destroy itself as being a very deep in kind of illness. I can't go into elaborating it, but I just want to mention that the homeopaths have a pretty good, an interesting take on that. So the other thing that's important in that I consider pretty important, and I've worked with some people who have what they call degenerative nervous system diseases and releasing trauma, and I've seen symptomatic improvement, palliation, that's pretty dramatic in some cases. So, there's a lot of factors and a lot of elements that are involved in those conditions. Very often what we can do, if you have a really good physician who really understands the whole person, you may enable in some cases, the best you hope for is an improvement of condition, or maybe the slowing down of a degenerative condition, but general improvement of the quality of life, which is pretty important. So I'm not sure what else I can say about that. I wouldn't go into recommending individual specific things without doing consultation. I mean, as a rule, I don't do consultations and do prescriptions on the run. You have to sit down with someone and look at the possibilities. But Allah is generous. In England, they have a hospital south of London, and it's the Hospital for Incurable Diseases. And the sign out in front of the hospital is a marble sign with the name of the hospital carved deep into the stone. And it's called the Hospital for Incurable Diseases. And if you understand what I'm saying, if that doesn't indicate a kind of attitude. Allah is generous and many remarkable things are possible, but we must be realistic about what we hope for and what we expect. And His mercy comes in many, many different forms. So I don't know if that's helpful. Inshallah.